77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts, including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
Ready to launch your business? Get started with a commerce platform made for entrepreneurs. Shopify is specially designed to help you start, run, and grow your business with easy customizable themes that let you build your brand, marketing tools that get your products out there, integrated shipping solutions that actually save you time, from startups to scale-ups, online, in person, and on the go. Shopify is made for entrepreneurs like you.
Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/setup.
The Larry Kudlow Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't. In Donald Trump's first term, a bunch of Obama appointees at the FBI and the CIA and intelligence agencies, including President Barack Obama, tried to pin a Russia hoax label on Mr. Trump, saying that he was somehow some kind of Russian agent and working with Russia helped to win the 2016 election against Hillary Clinton. It's all nonsense. And John Ratcliffe, CIA director, has declassified. This is the current CIA director, John Ratcliffe, friend of mine, smart, tough guy, has declassified and released an internal CIA agency review of all the machinations that fueled the Russia hoax. And with a statement on social media, he said, all the world can now see the truth. Brennan, Clapper, and Comey manipulated intelligence and silenced career professionals, all to get Trump. Now, Trump was exonerated in these impeachments, but it was all a lot of nonsense. Let's bring in Mike Davis, president of the Article 3 Project, former Senate Judiciary Committee counsel, and I might add a former Justice Gorsuch law clerk. Mike Davis, thanks for coming on a Saturday. We appreciate it. So Ratcliffe has sent this information over to the FBI, I guess, and it will be fully investigated. I'm interested, John Brennan, the CIA director back then, he said it's a mystery why anyone is investigating this. Really? A mystery? What a big phony he is.
Yeah, this is the biggest scandal in American history. You had the Obama White House, including President Obama and Vice President Biden, working with Hillary Clinton to make up the Crossfire Hurricane Russian collusion hoax on then presidential candidate Donald Trump. They made up the Steele dossier with the law firm Perkins Coie. They presented that to the FISA court. They lied to the FISA court. They got illegal spy warrants on then candidate Donald Trump. They continue to spy on him as the president of the United States. You were there. You remember this hobbled his presidency. I was the chief counsel for nominations on the Senate Judiciary Committee. I remember Senate Republicans running around in 2017 like chickens with their heads cut off because they were convinced that President Trump was a Russian asset, and it hobbled his presidency. That's how we got Chris Wray as the FBI director, the Comey protege. And it was. And here's my theory of why they did this. I think they did this because Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, got caught with her illegal home server, not only with our nation's most classified secrets, espionage, but also maybe, just maybe, Clinton Foundation pay-for-play foreign bribery schemes where she's the Secretary of State. These foreign entities are giving the Clinton Foundation tens of millions of dollars, and it underwrites the Clintons' lavish lifestyle. Maybe, just maybe, she's doing official acts in exchange. And so when she gets caught, she bleach bits her server. She takes a hammer to the phones, clear obstruction of justice. But guess what? Maybe, just maybe, our foreign enemies had a copy of this hack server, maybe China, maybe Russia. And Hillary thought this was going to come out before the 2016 election, and that's why they did this Crossfire Hurricane hoax against then candidate Trump. So if that server came out with this bribery, Hillary can say, you can't believe this. This is a Russian disinformation campaign. The Trump campaign's colluding with the Russians. And you say, that sounds crazy. How could you possibly think that? They did the same thing with Joe Biden and his corrupt family when they had the 51 former intel officials come out and say this had all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign when they caught the Bidens with their laptop from hell with all their corruption, right? And so in my mind, that's what all this lawfare is about against Trump. They did not want him to get out that Crossfire hurricane material. He declassified it via executive order the day before he left office. It was his presidential record. He may have had a copy, and maybe, just maybe, that's why they did the illegal home raid on the office of former president in Mar-a-Lago to go get back those Crossfire hurricane records. And then the lawfare ensued.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
Blockchain, crypto, it's happening to investments, currency, food trucks. Yes, payments are possible with crypto now. But it's not just happening to tortilla chips, also microchips. You can trade tokenized real-world and digital assets. So it's happening to assets, trading, industries, economies, and pretty much everything else. And it's happening with Ripple. For informational purposes only, not an offer or inducement. For investment professionals and high net worth companies, FSMA 2000 financial promotion order.
So, Mike Davis, the Radcliffe has now sent this material over to the FBI, I guess, and I don't know how much of it's public. But what happens here? Because it seems to me Brennan and Clapper and Comey should all suffer some consequences for their skullduggery and their lying, Mike Davis. I mean, Clapper lied before Congress. There's no question about that. He was the head of the, he was the National Intelligence Director, DNI. I mean, there's no question about that. I don't know if Brennan lied. Or I don't know if Comey lied. They sure came close to it. But what happens next is what I'm asking.
That's a very good question. People keep saying, well, the statute of limitations has expired. This is more than 5 years ago. And my response is, no, it hasn't, because this is an ongoing criminal conspiracy, including criminal conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S.C. Section 241, when you politicize and weaponize intel agents and law enforcement to go after your political enemies. That is the very definition of conspiracy against rights. And conspiracies do not end until the people in the conspiracy disavow the conspiracy. So, and not only the conspiracy has to stop, you have to disavow it. And it's not stopped. They've actually continued the conspiracy by this alleged perjury in 2022 that it's fraudulent concealment of the conspiracy. So they absolutely can bring charges for conspiracy for this ongoing criminal conspiracy against President Trump.
And Mike Davis, the other thing that's so interesting from this new information is the extent to which in 2016, even after the election in 2016, Barack Obama and Joe Biden were involved in sponsoring this cabal, this anti-Trump cabal led by Comey and joined by Brennan and Clapper and others. I mean, Obama's footprints are all over it. Joe Biden, too. I mean, these guys talk about democracy, blah, blah, blah. You know, what they were doing whatever they could to subvert Trump even before he was inaugurated.
That's exactly right. There is a handwritten note from the Obama White House in the Oval Office from January of 2017, right before President Trump is inaugurated. You had President Obama, Vice President Biden, Comey, Clapper, all the bad actors in this Oval Office coming up with a bogus criminal predicate to go after President Trump. And it was Joe Biden, then Vice President Joe Biden, who said they should use the Logan Act from 1798, a crime that has never been used in American history. They made up the Logan Act, which deals with when non-government officials are involved in foreign affairs. You can supposedly charge them under the Logan Act. So that was the predicate that Joe Biden, the dumbest politician in American history, made up to open up this investigation on President Trump, which sabotaged his first term.
So I'm just trying to figure out now, Congress get involved? Are the FBI running this thing? Kash Patel's, straight shooter, tough guy, et cetera, et cetera. What happens?
I would say this. My former boss, Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, has been digging and investigating and uncovering for years and years and years. He's turned this information over to Kash Patel at the FBI. There is reportedly a criminal probe that's been opened in a U.S. attorney's office. And remember, they can bring this criminal conspiracy charge, for example, in the Fort Pierce division down in the Southern District of Florida. So if we maybe can get a U.S. attorney confirmed, like Jason Redding Quinones, the nominee to be the U.S. attorney in Florida, who got through the Senate Judiciary Committee and is languishing on the Senate floor, maybe if we can get that guy confirmed as the U.S. attorney in Florida, maybe if the Senate can work more than 2.5 days a week, maybe if they can remember that recess is for kids and the Senate's not an adult nursing or a nursing home for senators, maybe if they can actually work and confirm these nominees, we can get rolling on this criminal probe.
Just to come back before we lose you, with respect to Hillary's campaign or the foundation, weren't they sponsors of the Steele dossier? This guy Steele was an FBI informant, number one, who was so bad he was fired. But the dossier itself, wasn't this all financed by Hillary Clinton's shop? I'm going to use the word shop in its widest form. I don't know whether it was campaign or foundation or whatever. Didn't that come from her? Shouldn't she be culpable also?
Yeah, and so you have to ask people like, Mark Elias, were they involved with this? And what was their involvement with this? And maybe Andrew Weissman, who's on MSNBC. He looks a little nervous lately. I can't understand why. I would say if you've done nothing wrong, Andrew Weissman or Mark Elias, you have nothing to worry about. But in the meantime, you better lawyer up, guys.
Lawyer up. I love that. Mike Davis, you're a tough guy. I love hearing this argument, straight stuff. Mike Davis, president of Article 3 Project. By the way, I didn't know you worked for Chuck Grassley, who I think is fabulous. One of the truly great senators. Anyway, we'll talk soon. Appreciate it very much. Folks, I'm going to take a break. And the other side of the break, you got leading Democrats. Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary, former Obama National Economic Council, a job that I held under Trump. He's going around telling people, I don't know, thousands and thousands of people are going to die because of some eligibility tightening and Medicaid in the one big, beautiful bill. We're going to talk to Ovik Roy about that when we come back. I'm Kudlow. Stick around, folks. More to come.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. 77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.